You sound like a host, yo. You sound like a host, yo. Look at you drinking tea. Like a fucking host drinks tea, yo. Like
music right then became my best friend because I couldn't play. That's who I had to play with. I didn't have nobody else to play with, so I'm playing the music because he had a component system. You remember the old school series of component systems? So boom, so I'm playing the music. I'm listening to this, listening to that. So next thing you know, I will leave. I will go to New York and stuff like that for summers and stuff like that, and stay with like my family and stuff like that. So I will always go bring me a box of cassettes, record stuff, record Red Alert, record all that stuff. We do that all the time.
That's what I used to. Yes, go to New York. That's what I used to do. Record the radio.
Damn right. Damn right. Like when I go spend my summers, I have so many cassettes, man, because I sit up there and record the radio every weekend. You know what I'm saying? Every weekend. You know what I'm saying? And then when I come back home, you know what I'm saying, or come back down south, boom, I got all the freshest stuff, bro. I got the freshest stuff. You know what I'm saying? So boom. So listening to that, that's what turned me on to that. Now, my sister had a boyfriend named Neil. Neil was the flyest dude known to mankind to me. Him and his whole crew. I'm a kid and I started to try to dress like him, going to school and everything. I probably, and this is no homo now, but I probably love my sister's boyfriend more than she loved that motherfucker. Because he used to rap. and he used to rap. And then he had a DJ named Technique. Technique was crazy with it. And Technique was cool with a dude named Joe. What is La Peekadum name? I'm about to tell you something. There's a dude named Joe that was here. We called him Shorty Fresh. He used to DJ. All right. Shorty Fresh is originally from Queens. He's originally from Queens, but his family's down here and all that or whatever. But he came down here for a while or whatever. Anyway, he ended up leaving or whatever. Shorty Fresh ended up DJing for Cool G Rap, Roxanne Shante. Then he started getting into production. He produced stuff on Rakim's albums and all of that type of stuff. He produced for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And he's out in California now. But I watched them as a kid. Neil took me over there to a battle, and Shorty Fresh and DJ Technique, they had Piggly Wiggly bags, brown Piggly Wiggly grocery. It's a grocery store here called Piggly Wiggly. They had a bag over his head, and then they had a bag over both of their head, and they had handcuffs on them, and their backs was turned to the turntable, so they were cutting behind their backs with their hands cuffs, and it was battling. When I seen that, it was a wrap.
What?
When I seen that, it was a wrap. I learned how I wanted to DJ. I wanted to DJ, so I started learning how to DJ. I started getting turntables or whatever. My first pair was mismatched. You know what I'm saying? Boom, had whatever. So the older guys that's in my neighborhood, they're rapping, they used to beatbox. They started coming through. So now I'm starting to make mixtapes. So boom, making mixtapes. Next thing you know, Neil took me to one of their recording sessions. And when I went to the recording session, I seen his DJ Technique make a beat. And when he made a beat, he had his Casio SK5 keyboard that I had. And I'm
Casio SK5.
Wow. You remember that with the yellow pads? It had a sampler in it. A little couple of second sampler in it. It had yellow pads on it. Matter of fact, some of those pads they had.
You making my brain tingle right now, yo.
No. I'm gonna show you how real it is. One of them had this fake ass lion sound in it. And matter of fact, I'm gonna show you how real it is. That fake ass lion sound on one of those yellow pads or whatever. Prince Paul ended up putting that same sound on De La first album straight from the SK5.
Wow.
Yeah, Prince Paul ended up putting that same sound on. Oh yeah, my bad, because I know I'm taking you around the world. But the thing is, let me
that's dope.
take this
Doing just what you're doing, bro. This is beautiful.
Yeah. So at this time, all right. So my sister's boyfriend, his whole crew rapped and all of that. Let me tell you something. All them boys look like you had two of those guys named Sean Button and Stanley Parks. Them dudes look like Super Lover C and Casanova Rudd to me. I wanted to be them. I just wanted to be them because they were just so fly. They were just fly, and they could spit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and they were dope. They DJ'd, the beats was right. It was just dope. I just couldn't believe that what was in New York was here like that. So I was sitting there like, yo, this is crazy. But anyway, that got me into production. When I went and seen them record something, and know what I said to myself? I said, you know what? I don't want to DJ no more. But I continued to DJ. At 15 years old, I had an older cousin. He had a club in a city called Manning, South Carolina. So he told my grandmother one night, he said, our DJ didn't show up. He was like, I need Vern to come. I need him to come and DJ for me tonight. Right? So my grandmother was like, okay, well, I'll do that I'll set him down there, whatever, or whatever, you go ahead and do that or whatever. So I went there. It's an adult club. It's the first time I ever DJ'd in the club. So I'm sitting there DJing or whatever. So I turned it out, rocked the fucking party. So when I rocked the party or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Right then, I said, man, this is, I'm going to do this. So next thing you know, my grandmother was like, okay, we let that go one time. You did that for El Dorado. That's my older cousin name. So you did that for El Dorado. That's cool. It's over with. But I was intoxicated. I already sipped the juice. The juice was too intoxicating. So when I sipped that juice and I tasted that, and I was like, no, I went back out there to DJ, and I told him, I said, listen, I want to DJ, boom, 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 boom. So my grandmother wasn't with that. My grandmother got mad. We got mad at each other. I didn't come back because I wanted to DJ, bro. I would come in school. I would go to school and be in homeroom on Monday mornings, passed out, because I'm DJing at adult clubs. So at from 15 to 16 years old, I'll be the made $450 to $500 in a weekend, while these other cats in high school trying to make JV, varsity, and trying to impress chicks or whatever. But I'm actually getting what probably their father or mother paycheck per week, DJing in adult nightclubs. So from there, okay, I went back. Neil used to take me to their recording sessions, and I seen that. I said, man, I don't give a damn about just DJing. I want to do that. I want to make those beats.
Now those sessions were where?
Those were at Technique's home, DJ Technique's home. DJ Technique, his parents was like, they were pretty well to do, and he had like a nice lab, bro. It wasn't a full-fledged recording studio in those days, but it's damn near close to it because he had a lot of stuff, bro. You know what I'm saying? His people was well to do. So we used to go over there, and when I seen him do that, and I seen him mess with those, I seen him sampling and looping and all that type of stuff, I was like, oh man, I gotta do this. So my dad gave me a Texas Instrument computer. All right. Okay. So this is back in the days. You know what I'm saying? Texas Instrument computer. So I have a partner named Kenny. You should remember Kenny, Zo, because Kenny used to be with me all the time, and then he ended up coming down there. He went to Claflin for like a year and a half, but he dropped out. But anyway, Kenny was into computers or whatever. Now, I'm kind of jumping the gun here because the story I'm about to tell you, this is around that time. I had that computer. Kenny used to always want to come over and mess with the computer, stuff like that. So I remember going to his house, and I seen he had a SK5 keyboard. I had an SK5 keyboard, like I told you, but guess what? 2 of them that will be more music and more things I could sample. You see what I'm saying? So boom, I said, you know what, Kenny? I gave Kenny the computer, and Kenny gave me the SK5 keyboard, and guess where we went in our lives? I went on into doing music. Kenny is the youngest black man to ever open a computer store in the state of South Carolina in 1996. He opened a computer store. It's not open no more, but he did that. His thing has always been computers. It's just funny how that went like that. But anyway, so with the records, it was a natural thing because I knew them. My dad had probably about, I'll say probably about 3,500 records at the house. So I knew them because I went through them. Because I had to play with them. Those were my friends. All those records that was in that house, those were my friends because I couldn't play with nobody. My grandma wouldn't let me. So those records was my friends.
Damn, I can definitely relate to that, man.
Those records was my friends. Those albums was my friends. As I got older, y'all gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh. But those was my friends. Some of those LPs was my girlfriends.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? That's how real it was. You remember how LL dissed Ice-T and told him what he did to the album cover? With his wife on it?
Yeah, Darlene.
You know what I'm saying? Boom. I had all these albums. And I'm talking about, man, it's so beautiful because these covers was ill. The art in these covers, like the people that were doing these graphics designs or whatever way back then in those times, these were some brilliant minds, man. Did you know Gordon Parks did a couple of people's album covers too?
Word?
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Really?
Yeah,
the
Gordon
famous
Parks,
photographer.
Yeah. I just read something about him last month.
Yeah. Gordon Parks did a couple album covers for people. I can't remember right now, but I have to research it. But he did a couple album covers. I remember that. I remember seeing his name.
That's dope.
You know, he directed Three the Hard Way.
Yeah, he directed movies and all that type of stuff. He was a serious cat. So the thing is, all of this stuff, I learned a lot of things. I learned a lot of history. Okay, so I already knew the records now. I knew the popular records. The Isley Brothers, Earth, Wind and Fire. What's the group? Kool and the Gang. I had all the James Brown stuff. The Meters. Man, I had these joints, bro, and I had a couple of jazz records too. I had my dad probably had about.
That was my joint.
Probably about 600 jazz records. 600 probably jazz records, but it was more fusion, like the the Grover Washingtons,
Bobby Humphries,
stuff like that.
Bobby Humphries was coming.
You know what I'm saying? Bobby Humphries.
That's
you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. You're right. But what joint you sample by her?
I don't remember what the song was. I remember the break. I remember the beat went something like dun, 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 dun. I remember I did that, and I mixed that with some James Brown and something else, and it was to a pause tape. It wasn't even on a machine. It was a pause loop.
Oh, I used to do that too. I forgot that part. I used to do that too.
Yeah.
I used to do that too. I started making pause tapes before I actually got the SK5 little keyboards and stuff like that. And I went to a place called Service Merchandise at that time to get that SK5
I remember that
keyboard.
spot.
You remember that store?
Yeah, they turned into Circuit City, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what it. I know it ended up leaving. It ended up shutting down. I don't know what it turned into.
Yeah,
but I ended up getting that from Service Merchandise. But from there, I'm recognizing names. So I'm seeing certain people like Joe ZoAsAOz. Okay, he plays piano, keyboards, and he was credited with being like one of the earliest cats that was ill with the old analog keyboards and bringing it into like jazz fusion and all of that back in the day. He's one of the nice cats that was ill with that back in those days. But he used to be with a group called Weather Report.
Weather Report?
And, Weather Report, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was the keyboardist or played the keys on that. So the thing is I forgot why I bring Joe's all. Okay, I start seeing these names. So now I'm noticing, like, I read my covers, so I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, I've noticed these certain names that pop up on certain albums and stuff like that. So I'm sitting up there, I'm like, okay, well, what are these people? Okay, I keep seeing his name a lot. Well, damn, he know all these people? What's going on? So I started making connections. I recognize what everybody does. I just didn't sample records. Like any. I was the type that I could pull a record, or if I hear your beat and then I recognize the sample, I could give you the background on that record. That's how I used to be. I used to study that shit like that. So it just came natural. So now I'm digging myself more. You know what I'm saying? Where I got money, I'm spending money. I'm going to flea markets. I'm going to people's homes. I'm going to thrift stores. I'm going to record stores. So you still have record stores there. So boom, I'm going and digging, and that's why I can move and navigate myself through a record store. That was crazy. That's like when I met people like the Mighty VIC. I met the Mighty VIC when he was actually a Beatnut. You know what I'm saying? When I met these guys or whatever, and then when they met me, and then I'm with them, and then they playing beats, and I'm like, oh, that's such and such. They stop and they look at me like, what the fuck? How you know that? Because I'm the dude from down south. You know what I'm saying? How you know that? You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you what you putting in yourself. I'm telling you, I know these records. I got these records, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I gain my respect and earn my respect. That's why, to this day, you know what I'm saying, Beatnuts got love for me. You know what I'm saying? Because of my knowledge of records. They knew I wasn't playing. They knew I wasn't playing with those records. It's just, that vinyl is addictive, bro. I don't know what it is about it, but it's addictive, bro. And it got so real that shit that Beatnuts said on their first single, on their first EP, I did that, bro. It got that ill. It got that real, bro. I'm thinking Reign of the Tech. I'm trying to remember, yo. I can't.
I remember Reign of the Tech.
That EP. It's the first joint.
Yeah.
Intoxicated Demons. Demons. It's the Dizzy Gillespie shit. It's the first after the intro. Vic rhyming on it too. He got Vic. They let Vic rhyme on it because Fashion was in jail at that time when they made that shit. But anyway,
yeah.
Come on down.
I'm about to look
Beatnuts, y'all. A Beatnuts, y'all. A Beatnuts, y'all.
Oh yeah,
a Beatnuts,
the horns. I remember the horns at that part right there.
Beatnuts. All right, boom. All right, those horns. That's a Dizzy Gillespie record. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you who also used that record. Who used that record? Large Professor used it for Akanelli for Akaha.
Damn, for real?
No, not Akaha. Not Akaha.
That's that vagina thing.
Hold on, give me.
I know what you talking about.
Vagina album. Not Akaha. Akaha is Stone Soul Picnic by it was a Blue Note record. It's
man, do that. You was just doing the beat, man. You sure?
No. It's the Akaha, because Akaha go boom 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 boom.
Oh yeah, you right.
Because Ali Shaheed and my man Beetle ended up using that and remixing KRS-One BDP joint called We In There, and they use that same sample.
And we in
you know what I'm saying? For We In There remix. because you remember it had the Quincy Jones sirens that. Yeah, we in there. Yeah. The remix now, the Tribe Called Quest remix.
Man,
because if you got the single to We In There, there's an Ali Shaheed. It's an Ali Shaheed remix, but the Ali Shaheed remix, my man Beetle did half of that beat. Beetle got production. He got credits on it because when you see it, it say Ali Shaheed and then it say co-produced by Beetle. But Beetle got I'm gonna tell you who Beetle is.
Hey,
Q-Tip shout him out in another song. Electric Glass Station, Ali, Fife, and the Extra P. Stacy Beetle, something in my man LG. That's Beetle who I'm talking about. That's the same guy he's talking about.
I never heard him say the word Beetle. I thought he said Stacy B, and then he said the something.
He said Beetle.
You just solved the mystery, man.
Wow.
Stacy Beetle, something in, and my man LG.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Beetle. So the thing is that's how. Now, mind you, now through all of this, now I had a cousin that came down south from Brooklyn because he was getting in trouble, named Ski. All right, me and Ski started doing music. You know what I'm saying? Now going to New York on the summers or whatever, my cousin Debbie used to date a guy by the name of Mike Music. Mike Music is Mike Music from the group Divine Sounds. What people do for money, what people do. All right, boom. They're from Brooklyn. All right, so being up there with them and with my cousins. Today.
Man, are we?
No. I'm about to get ill on you. How much time y'all got? How much time we got?
As long as you got, bro. As long as you got.
Yeah, we got time.
I got stories now. I got stories that I'm thinking about writing the book and putting in the book type stories.
And I flipped the script and we dipped the chip, no doubling up. It's bubbling up, nothing troubling us. From the rubble, covered in dust. No news if it's not covering us. Insurance show, you can call me Zoe. Somebody say ho, like heave ho. This is super strong, like the Green Hulk. I said ho, say ho, like that nigga you know. Throw your hands up at my motherfucking show. Who is the livest? Tell me which side is. Who is the livest? Tell me which side is. Who is the livest? Zodiac, that's who I be. My style ain't free, it costs to be. Instrument being, what you rapping for? What's the meaning? Not to be a punchline genius, dreaming about a community away from the scrutiny of government. I'm not your employee, I've got choices to make, consequences get ate. I can relate, I have before, no more debate. History, my teacher. Distractions are a feature of this society I wish to destroy. Babylon burn, bringing me joy. I need real titty meat, you can keep that soy. Popcorn and peanuts, oh boy. Cracker Jack, White Karen, Uncle Ben, color has no bearing. Scientists still exist, same soul, add the facelift. Bad energy, shapeshift, I know what the devil is. He know me and that's our biz.